वहाँ पे अर्जुना ने कृष्णा से क्वेश्चन पूछना शुरू किया था कि उन्होंने जो अब तक का उन्हें रास्ता बताया इट्स डिफिकल्ट, तो उन्होंने उन्हें उसे विंड से कंपेयर किया था। फिर
करेक्ट।
उन्होंने बताया था कि जो हम लोग एज़ अ पर्सन जो हम लोग होते हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा स्टबर्न होते हैं चीज़ों को लेके, तो वो कैसे कर सकते हैं? तो उसके क्वेश्चन को आंसर देना शुरू किया था कृष्णा ने। एंड उन्होंने जो बात हुई थी वो यहाँ पे हुई थी कि इट्स पॉसिबल, डिफिकल्ट ज़रूर है बट इम्पॉसिबल नहीं है। किया जा सकता है बट थ्रू द स्पिरिचुअल पाथ से स्लोली ग्रेजुअली करके चीजें हो सकती थी, कर सकते हैं इसको। तो
वेरी
इस
नाइस।
चीज पे अपनी बात हो रही थी
वेरी
प्रभु
नाइस।
जी।
And why did Arjun mention that this process is difficult to follow?
क्योंकि प्रभु जी जो उन्होंने चीजें बताई थी कि क्योंकि जो एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग जो हमारा माइंड होता है वो बहुत अनस्टेबल होता है, वो इधर उधर चीजों में जाता है और हम लोग बहुत ज्यादा अटैचमेंट में होते, डिसअटैचमेंट नहीं होती है।
Correct,
एंड जो हम
correct,
लोग बहुत ही स्टबर्न माइंडसेट के होते हैं और जो हम लोग कैसे कि कहीं पे भी कैसे भी कर लेते हैं, हम एक जगह स्थिर नहीं हो पाते हैं, जिसकी वजह
correct.
से इसको करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है
Okay,
एक।
correct. No, so there is a link between uh, not being able to, meaning mind cannot be steady, sthir, and
बिल्कुल।
the requirements of the process. So there is
ये
something that because the mind is not steady, okay, you are unable
यस,
to achieve the requirements of the process. That there is something
करेक्ट।
in between that. What is that? What is it that you cannot do because the mind is steady, and that becomes a requirement of the process? There is something between that.
दैट्स अटैचमेंट विद द थिंग्स एंड जो हमारे इमोशंस है दैट्स बिकॉज ऑफ
Nahi,
द अटैचमेंट।
nahi, nahi. There is one word that Arjun uses over there. Okay, so it's important to understand that. Okay, he says the word samyena is he uses samyena madhusudana. Okay, samya is equanimity. Okay, equanimity meaning one has to look at material as well as spiritual in an equal manner. One has to look at uh, good and bad in an equal manner. One has to look at profit, loss, victory, defeat, gain, everything, hot, cold, happiness, distress in an equal manner. A relative, a close friend, an enemy, everybody in an equal manner. And
करेक्ट।
that for a person like us is very difficult. Why it is difficult? Because the next reason he gives is you are unable to control the mind. Okay, the mind is somebody which has kind of, what do you say, it has its own drawbacks in terms of, being restless, being meaning very strong. It's mad. It is so obstinate, it's so stubborn that it will never listen to anybody. It may understand the right or wrong, but still it will not care about the drawbacks of performing a wrong action or the positives of performing the right action. It will just go based on what the senses demand. Okay, that is why it
ओके।
is very difficult to control, because it has these four characteristics: chanchalam, pramathi, balavadrudam, and where is that? And this one, obstinate. Yeah, dridham. Pramathi, Balavat, Drudham, and the first one, Chanchalam. These four characteristics Arjun talks about, and he gives one example, Vayoriva Sudushkaram, meaning it is possible to control the wind, but it is not possible to control the mind. That is what he says. And Krishna, like an excellent teacher, he does not reject Arjuna's concern. He says, yes, asamshayam. No doubt, undoubtedly, hey Arjun, despite you being Mahabahu, you are saying that it is difficult to control, and I agree to it completely. Manodur Nigraham Chalam, it is not simple. Nigraham, to control that, it's not simple. It's very difficult. Okay. But it is possible. It is not impossible. It is difficult, but it's not impossible. It's possible by abhyasena to kaunteya, meaning you need to continuously practice. Even if you fail, get up again, practice again. Even if you fail, again wake up, again get up, again practice. Yeah. And that way you need to develop detachment towards material things and develop attachment for spiritual things. That way you will be able to do it. Okay, because it is, if you are unable to do it, self realization is very difficult if your mind is cannot be controlled. That is what he is saying. Now, okay, now comes Arjuna's the most important question of Bhagavad Gita, which actually gives a completely tangential direction to Bhagavad Gita, which he asks in 37 and 38. And in 39, again, Arjun speaks and he mentions why this question is can be answered only by Krishna and why not anybody else. Okay. Any question about whatever we have covered?
No, Prabhuji.
Uh, Prabhuji, I have a one question. So, meaning ki like the between like why we are not able to go into that particular state. So, major thing is the things he discussed about the restless and the turbulent. Another word you use. What is that word meaning exactly? Samya sab. I just
Samyana.
samyana.
Samyana was equanimity. So to be able to have a equal disposition towards anything, towards dualities of the material life. Okay,
Okay.
so hot and cold, meaning happiness, distress, profit, loss, victory, defeat. Yeah, all these things, enemy, friend, relative, not relative, a person whom you know very well, a person whom you
Okay.
don't know at all of these people, all of these events, all of the objects, you should have a equal disposition, whether you get something which you want, whether you get something which you do not want, whether you don't get what you want, whether you don't get what you don't want. Yeah, you have to have an equal disposition towards it. That is equanimity.
Equanimity. Okay. Okay,
Okay,
Prabhuji. Yes,
chalo,
Prabhuji.
so let's look at verse number 37. Arjuna uvacha
Arjuna
Arjuna
Vacha
Uvacha
ayati shraddhayopeto
Ayati
Ayati
Shraddhati
Shraddhayopeto
Shraddhayopeto
योगाच्चलित मानसः
Yoga Chalit
Yogachalitamanasaha
Manasa
अप्राप्य योग संसिद्धिम्
Apravyam Pravyam
Apraprayoga
Goga
Samsiddhim
Satyam
काम गतिम कृष्ण गच्छति
Kangam
Kam Gati
Gatyam
Krishna Gachati
Gachati
अप्राप्य where is this? अयति श्रद्धयोपेतो योगाच्चलित मानसः अप्राप्य योग संसिद्धिं काम गतिम कृष्ण गच्छति. Can someone read the translation?
Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to world-mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?
So, who can guess what is the background for Arjuna's question? It's a very important question. One has to understand why Arjun is asking this question to be able to understand it better, based on which you can understand Krishna's answer also. No? Okay. So, what has happened so far? Krishna has talked about certain paths so far until now in Bhagavad Gita. So the first one he talks about is Karma Kanda. Okay, what does Karma Kanda mean? Anybody? Karma Kanda is performing actions which are mentioned in the scriptures, but for a selfish benefit, with a selfish motive. So, because I want to go to heaven, because I want to enjoy a lot in heaven or on earthly kingdom, because I want lot of money, lot excellent good body, good wife, good children, bank balance, job, this and all that, so many things, right? Because I want so many material things, I am going to follow what is mentioned in the scriptures to perform this puja, this home, this charity, that charity. And once I do that, I will be assured of getting some material benefit. If I were not to get that material benefit, then I wouldn't do the puja or any other activity. So my motive is completely selfish. That is karma kanda. Krishna first talks about this. Then he goes to one level higher and he says ki better than that is to perform action in a selfless manner, to perform it as part of your duty. Okay, that is karma yoga. Then there is a chance that you may not have the knowledge behind why you're performing the action. So, which is Jnana Mishrit Karma Yoga, which he talks about in the fourth chapter. Okay. Then the next stage comes in as Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, right, which he talks about in the sixth chapter, right? But graduating from one stage to another, Arjun says that whatever you have told me so far, I find that to be impractical. Okay. But you tell me now what happens for a person who gives up his path. Okay. So now which path is he talking about? He is talking about the path of karma kanda. Okay. Why does one perform karma kanda? Because he wants to enjoy in the material world. Krishna said, don't focus on obtaining something from the material world because you will get based on your karma only. So if you try to exit out of the material world, that is a better state than remaining in this material world. So now automatically the question for Arjuna comes up that I had two paths with me. Okay. Either perform karma kanda and enjoy earthly stuff, or walk on the path of selfless action, devotional action, which is what Krishna has advocated in chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now he is saying, if I were to give up my karma kanda, which means if I were to give up my enjoyment, although I am doing it based on scriptural injunctions, I am still giving up my material enjoyment for the path of selfless action. Correct? Now that selfless action, which eventually turns into Ashtanga Yoga, he is saying that this is not practical, which means whatever a person, whatever stage a person reaches up to, there is a chance that he may not achieve the final objective. Correct? Because controlling the mind is difficult than to control the wind. So that means at a certain point of time, there is a probability that I may give up the path. Yeah. So far, simple to understand. Huh? So what he
जी
is
प्रभु जी
saying now, if I give up the path, or if the yogi gives up the path of this selfless action or Ashtanga Yoga, that means I haven't achieved the objective, which means I will go away from the path completely, which means neither did I achieve what karma kanda was supposed to give me, that is bodily material enjoyment, nor will I achieve the objective of Ashtanga Yoga. So so see terms such a person as an unsuccessful transcendentalist. Okay. And he says he takes to the process with complete faith. It's not that he is just trying to throw stones in the water to gauge the depth of the water. He has complete faith in it. That's why he gave up the path of Karma Kanda. That's why he started walking on the path of Ashtanga Yoga. But because of worldly mindedness, he does not achieve the objective. A very fantastic and important question. Very thoughtful question this is. So these two paths are being compared. One path, one gives up to be able to take up the Ashtanga Yoga path, and he doesn't achieve that also. What happens to such a person is the question. You see the depth of Arjuna's knowledge and understanding, and based on that, you can understand what level of question has he asked to Krishna. Okay, so far, okay. Any question? Can I move on to the next verse? Anybody? No?
No, we are okay.
Okay, let's move on. Verse number 38. Kachinno bhaya vibhrashthas.
Kachino bhaya vrishbrashta.
Chinnabhramiva nashyati.
Brahmavi nashyati.
Apratishto mahabaho.
Apratishto mahabaho.
Vimudho brahmana pathi.
Vimudho brahmanapati.
Kachinno bhaya vibhrashthas chinnabhramiva nashyati. Apratishto mahabaho vimudho brahmana pathi. Translation. Read.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you scroll down a little bit?
Down. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a raven cloud with no position in any sphere? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let us first understand the analogy that he has given. He has talked about a cloud, okay, which perishes without any position in any sphere. Okay, what does this mean? So basically, when you see uh, a cloud, generally there are many small clouds together, and together they form like a bunch of clouds. Okay, and all of these clouds are moved by the wind. Okay, it's simple to understand. There are times when some wind flows in a kind of a weird direction, and a small cloud of that moves away from the bigger group. Okay, and then because of the force of the wind, it disperses somewhere. Okay, now Arjun is giving a kind of an analogy to indicate that the cloud itself intended to move away from the one group of cloud to go and merge into another group of cloud. So what he is saying, when such a thing happens, okay, whether the person himself intends to move away or by the force of the wind moves it away, the fact that it may not necessarily go and meet the second group of clouds, and during that process it may get vanished from the sky completely, and it will not have any position anywhere in the whole atmosphere. That is what he is highlighting. How does this translate to the concern that he had raised in the previous verse? So a person who had started walking on the path of karma kanda, that person realizes that working with a selfish motive is not good. You may continue to get into the cycle of birth and death regularly. So it is better to take the path of yoga, which is either karma yoga or dhyan yoga, ashtanga yoga, whatever. And that's why he gives up that path of material enjoyment, which means now he does not perform action to get any material benefit. So that means no bodily enjoyment is there. And then he started walking on the path of Ashtanga Yoga, but because of certain um, uh, worldly mindedness, which means there are some uh, thoughts that he has to enjoy something at a bodily level, he gives up that path and starts walking to the direction of karma kanda. And in between, when the gust of wind comes, he is unable to go back to the group of clouds, which is Ashtanga Yoga, nor go to the group of clouds of Karma Kanda also. So he is lost completely. That is what Arjun is saying. Okay, is that clear to understand? So this is his question. It is not that he is making a statement. He is saying, he is using the right word, bewildered, he is saying. So that person understands what he is doing may be incorrect, but still he is doing it. So that's why there is a good probability that he will fall away from the spiritual as path as well as material path. So he cannot achieve success in any of the paths. Any questions so far? No?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, let's move on to verse 39. Now comes the important part of this verse or this question. Etan me samshayam Krishna
एतन्मे संशय कृष्ण
छेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः
छेतुमर्यः सस्तेषः
त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य
त्वदन्यय संशयस्य
छेत्ता न ह्युपपद्यते
चेतान ह्युपगते
एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण छेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य छेत्ता न ह्युपपद्यते. Translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Hare Krishna.
So it's a very important verse, very important aspect of the manner in which Arjun is asking question and the respect that he has for Krishna and the confidence that he has for Krishna that he will be able to dispel his doubt, right? Firstly, he is saying, Ki Baba, so far you have been giving me a ladder based knowledge. Okay, stage number one is better than stage zero. Stage 2 is better than stage 1. 3 is better than 2. But now, can you please tell me completely this doubt? Can you remove it completely? Abhi, now don't play games with me. Please tell me complete, give me complete knowledge. Okay. Then he says, no one can be found who can destroy this doubt. Okay. So now this actually shows that, one has to have complete faith in the Guru. Okay, and other than the guru, nobody needs to, one doesn't need to take shelter of anybody when it comes to clearing our doubts. So why Krishna? Okay, because Krishna has, to a very good extent so far, he has highlighted to him what he is. Okay, so various verses, 3.30, 2.61, the sixth chapter few verses, the fourth chapter few verses, the fifth chapter last verse. Yeah, that way he has highlighted, Krishna has highlighted who he is. And that's why he is saying, other than you, nobody can remove my doubt. So I request you, please dispel this doubt completely. It's a very important verse. I personally like it because this shows the confidence and faith that Arjun has in Krishna. So in this verse, you will see Arjun is asking or addressing Krishna with his direct name, that is Krishna himself. He doesn't use the word Mahabahu or something like that, right? So the reason is uh, it is a kind of a direct relationship that Arjun has with Krishna, indicating that it is not a theoretical or abstract question. It is a question which only not just you can answer, but I am asking you because you are my most dearmost friend, guru. Okay, it's a very personal relationship that Arjun is having with Krishna, and these addresses that both of them have to for each other during the whole of Bhagavad Gita, that in itself actually can one can write a book on why Krishna called Arjun with so and so name in so and so verse, and the vice versa also. So more than the philosophical, it is a kind of a personal relationship which is being displayed by the addressing of this verse. And the word he uses is asheshatah, which means do not keep any doubt remaining in my mind. You need to answer it completely. So let's see what Krishna answers this. Okay. Any questions so far? Can I move on? So now in the next 8 verses, that is starting from 40 till 47, Krishna gives answers. First, he answers his question from verse number 41, 40, 41, and 42. Then he goes deeper into it and practically talks about what happens after that answer results into something. That is 43, 44, and 45. And then, like the best orator, Krishna connects this topic with Bhakti Yoga via verse number 46 and 47. Okay. So we will start off with verse 40, 41, and 42. We will speak about it. But there is a good chance you may not understand this in one single sitting. Okay. My other classes, I have seen people were confused and I had to give an extra round of explanation. But if if it's difficult to understand, we will continue speaking about this in the next class also. Okay. So let's read verse number 40. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri
Shri
Bhagavana
Bhagwan Vacha
Uvacha
Partha Naiveha Namutra
Partha Naiveha
Arthaneve
Namutra
namutra
Vinashastasya Vidyate
Vinashaya
vinashasasatasya
Sasyate Vidyate
vidyate
Nahi Kalyanakrit Kaschid
Nahi
na
Kalyan Krut Kaschit
kritkasit
Durgatim Tata Gachati.
Durgati
durgati
Tata
tata
Gachati
gachati
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyanakrit Kaschid Durgatim Tata Gachati. Translation.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Partha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with the destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil.
Okay. So now Arjuna's question revolved around um, a kind of a state where the cloud has lost its complete identity, having no position in the whole of atmosphere, which means that because the cloud cannot be seen, Arjun assumed that its identity is lost completely, right? So, what Krishna is highlighting first is, do not understand, do not assume that the Atma of the yogi is lost completely, right? So, which means he is saying that a person who is engaged in auspicious activities can never meet with destruction in this world. So, this is something very important to understand. Okay. There are times wherein we think, Arey yaar, I did so and so good thing for that so and so person, but he did not understand the importance. पूरा waste हो गया. Yeah. और मैंने उसके लिए ऐसा ऐसा किया. See how he behaved with me. Right. So these are things which you should have full confidence in, that whether it is a punya or a selfless action, your result, due result will come to you. Okay. So what Krishna is saying is, nahi kalyan krut kaschit. Okay. One who is engaged in auspicious activities can never meet destruction. So ऐसा नहीं है कि when the person performs an auspicious activity and he gives up that path, he will not get any benefit of the auspicious activity. Krishna says, no, that is not possible. Whether in this life or in the next life or the next to next life, he will get the result of his auspicious activity. Okay. So this is a confirmation that he is giving here. Okay. Let's move on and to read the next verse also, and then we will speak in detail about these three verses together. Okay. Now, after having spoken the principle about what happens to the person, now he talks at a practical level exactly what happens to that person. Okay. The trajectory, you can say, the journey of the person after he gives up the body in the current life, despite not being able to achieve the objective of Ashtanga Yoga. What happens to such a person? Okay. Let's read the verse. Prapya punyakrutam lokan
Prapya purnakrita lokan
उषित्वा शाश्वती समाः
nushishvata shashvati samaha
शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे
suchinam srimata gehe
योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते
yoga brashto bhijayate
प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वती समाः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते. Translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy.
Hare
aristocracy.
Krishna. So now what has happened? Let's understand it from two different paths. Okay. The first path is what Krishna is talking about here. Okay. Um, Manju, do you know how do I start a whiteboard or something like that? In Teams?
Sorry, no, I'm not very familiar with the whiteboard on Teams.
Do you know how to start whiteboard in Teams? Notes, room, apps. Share and stop sharing. Stop sharing. This is it. Teams window. Microsoft Whiteboard. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's coming up. Just a second. 1 moment. Okay, this one I'll skip. Are you able to see the whiteboard?
No, Prabhuji.
No,
No.
Prabhuji. Whiteboard is in progress. It's showing.
Saket. Saket. Arey yaar, I don't know.
Saying a whiteboard is not available, you do not have access.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't share whiteboard. Okay, leave it. Leave it. Okay. Let me show an online whiteboard. Then leave it. I'll show it on the. How do I draw?
Maybe you can open
share.
PowerPoint or Word or something and then on the
But
laptop.
I wanted to draw lines also in that by hand.
MS Paint.
Huh?
MS Paint.
How?
It's easy in that. Search.
MS Paint.
Hmm.
Okay. Paint. Okay. Let me do this. Okay, just 1 moment. It's coming up. Yeah. I hope you are able to see Paint now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Okay. So there are 2 paths. Okay. Path number 1 and path number 2. Path number 1 is explained in verse number 41. Okay. And this path is explained in verse number 42. Okay. What happens at this point of time? Okay. This is a common line. This is a path of failure. Okay. I hope you understand this word. It is called fail. Huh? Okay. So a person
Yes, Prabhuji.
has failed here. So he has walked on the path of Ashtanga Yoga or whatever yoga path Krishna talks about, but he failed. Now there are 2 possibilities. Practically speaking, there are 3 possibilities, but let's have possibility number 1, which is 1A, I would say, and this is 1B. Okay, and this is possibility number 2. Okay, so possibility 1A, what happens is that person has walked on the Ashtanga Yoga path from, let's say, scale of here till here. Okay, this is the path. There is one person which fails at this point. There is one person which fails at this point, and there is one person which fails at this point. Okay, this is the start, this is the end. Okay, so far simple to understand, I hope. So if the person fails here or here, the reason for that failure is worldly mindedness. Okay, in such a scenario, what Krishna says is, he says prapya punya krutam lokan. Punya krutam lokan is what? The punya is action, a pious action. Krutam is to perform that action. Lokan is the planet or where people who perform pious actions go to. Any idea what that planet is? कौन सा planet a person achieves after performing pious activities? We have spoken about this many times.
Narak, I believe.
Wow, नरक में जाएगा कोई अच्छा काम करने के बाद?
नहीं
Maybe
sorry.
पायस एक्टिविटी मतलब अच्छा काम. अच्छा काम
maybe
करने
on
के
the
बाद कौन कहाँ जाता है?
स्वर्ग.
स्वर्ग. Correct. So पुण्य कृताम लोकान is स्वर्ग. Is Krishna says prapya. He achieves, okay, a place in heaven. And ushitva shashwati sama. Ushitva meaning he resides there, Shashwati, for a very long time. Shashwati sama. तो ये बंदा जो है 1A, he goes to heaven. ओके, अभी मैं एच लिखता हूं, आप समझ जाओ, वो थोड़ा लिखने में थोड़ा डिफिकल्टी है. हाँ, ये he goes to heaven and the same person, another person, the second person also goes to heaven. So this is path number 1 that Krishna has talked about. Okay, second path we will come to verse number 42. उसके बाद क्या होता है? Okay, then he says Shuchinam and Shrimatam. So this person, this is, let's say this guy is A, this guy is B. Okay, ये 1A 1B and this is number 2. Okay, ऐसा करते हैं. So 1A वाला person as well as 1B वाला person, both of them first go to heaven. Simple. And then after that, Shuchinam and Shrimatam. Shrimatam is a family which has a lot of Shri, that is Lakshmi Mata, which is wealth. Okay, that पहला वाला जो बंदा है 1A, he is born in a wealthy family. Okay, and the second person is born in a Brahminical family, that is B. Okay, so 1A wala person, he comes here, 1B wala person, he comes here. Okay, both of them have gone to heaven. Okay, second 42nd का वर्स देखते हैं हम लोग, and then we will come to this path again. Okay, if you have any question, just give me kind of 5 minutes. हम लोग we will talk about the path again. Okay, verse number 42. अथवा योगिनामेव
अथवा योगिनामेव
कुले भवति धीमताम्
कुले भवति धीमताम्
एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम्
एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम्
लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्
लोके जनमे दृदश्रुतम्
अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम् लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. Translation.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी. Or if successful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world.
Okay.
Hare
Now,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now, the fact that Krishna starts this verse with the word athava means that this is a alternate trajectory that he is talking about. Okay, so what he is saying, athava, if not, that means if the person does not fall down from kind of worldly mindedness, and there could be some other reason, maybe he could not complete that activity because his life was a bit short. Okay, then what happens? Kule bhavati dhimatam. If you notice in the previous verse, he used the word Shrimatam. Now he is using the word Dhimatam. Kule bhavati. Bhavati meaning he takes birth. In what? In a kula, in a family who are Dhimatam, which means they are great in knowledge. Dhimatam, buddhi we say, right? Dhi means buddhi. He's saying Dhimatam, meaning the people who have great wisdom. Okay. Etadhi durlabhataram. Such a birth is very, very rare. Okay, loke janma yadi drusham. Okay, like birth like this is very, very rare. Okay, now let us go back to that path now again. So now what happens? This particular person, this path Krishna talks about, he comes here. Okay, so let's recap this one again. So there is a person, he gave up the path of karma kanda. he starts walking on the path of karma yoga or jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga and all that. Okay, but he is unable to achieve the destination. Now, depending on, let's say you are driving from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, and you may have crossed Dubai, and that is when you stop your car. Another person goes till Kizad, and the third person goes till almost outskirts of the city but has not been able to enter the city. Now, the probability, whose probability is higher to reach enter the city when the cars they start for the second time?
The one who's near the border, almost near the city.
Or almost near the city, right? That is this particular person, this guy. So he drove a long distance from Dubai, maybe almost 150 kilometers, but just at the start of the limits of the city, he stopped. That is this person. Then the person who reached until Kizad, he walked a long way, but still it wasn't sufficient to take him there. That is this person, person number 1B. And the person who started walking on this path may have done a little bit of tapasya, but he had a lot of material attractions related things pending in his mind. So what Krishna is saying is here, very important to understand, that the reason why you fell down, the reason why you gave up that path, 1 minute, sorry, the reason why you gave up that path was because you were attracted towards the material enjoyment. So what Krishna does is, for both these people, 1A and 1B, for both of them, Krishna says that because you could not control your mind, and because you could not keep walking on this path, your mind was attracted to my material enjoyment. I will personally give you this material enjoyment. And how? So I will take you to heaven. Okay. Now, why heaven? Is because the enjoyment received on earth is of very inferior quality compared to the enjoyment received on in Swargaloka. ओके, एंड इसको कैसे हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि लेट्स से टू पीपल हैव कार्स, एक के पास टोयोटा करोला है, दूसरे के पास मर्सिडीज मेबैक एडिशन है, या क्राइसलर का मेबैक एडिशन, या रोल्स रॉयस है. So now what is going to happen? Both are able to enjoy, but the person having Rolls Royce can enjoy more, and he gets better quality of enjoyment. ठीक है? Now, in addition to getting better quality enjoyment, Krishna is saying, I will give you a huge duration of life. Ushitva Shashwati Sama. Meaning you will be able to live in heaven for a very, very long time and enjoy the amenities over there. Now, ये क्यों करता है ऐसे? What do you think? Any guesses? Very important to understand these points.
Can you repeat the question again?
So the point is, there are two benefits that Krishna gives. One is, he says that you wanted enjoyment. According to you, material enjoyments on earth is what you wanted. Let alone earthly enjoyments, I am giving you heavenly enjoyments. That's why I'm sending you to Swarga. So that's why, meaning quality of enjoyment is better. In addition to that, he is saying, I'm going to give you even good quantity of enjoyment in terms of duration of life. So if on earth you were able to enjoy for only 50, 100 years, I will give you thousands and thousands of years on heavenly planet. Okay. So now I'm asking a question. Why does Krishna give you so much life on heavenly planet for you to enjoy? Why do you think so?
Maybe because of your past karmas, you have earned it.
No, karma doesn't play a big role here. It hardly plays a role. It is more of mercy of Krishna because of which you are going there. So the reason here is that Krishna is saying that after giving you more than sufficient enjoyment, the probability that you will want more material enjoyment will automatically get eliminated. Correct? Let's take a small example. Okay. You have a Bhagavad Gita class going on here. Before the start of the class, uh, a friend comes to you and says कि चलो यार, let's go for this program, वहां पे नाच गाना बहुत है, you will enjoy. तो you will say अरे चल ठीक है यार, every week भगवद गीता क्लास होता है, एक दिन मिस करेगा तो क्या होगा. Okay, you go there. Okay, then the decision that you take is because you think that that enjoyment is better than Bhagavad Gita. ठीक है. So let's assume उधर आपको एक्सपेक्टेड था कि 2-3 घंटा मजा आएगा, हाँ एंजॉय कर लेंगे. बट लेट से दैट फ्रेंड फोर्सेस यू कि नहीं, और 4 घंटा रुको, और 10 घंटा रुको, और 20 more hours रुको करे. ऐसा करते करके वो फ्रेंड तुमको 5 दिन जाने ही नहीं देता है, उसके घर से बाहर जाने ही नहीं देता है. करो एंजॉय, नाचो खाओ पियो मजे करो करो, आपके फोर्स कर रहा है आपको, करो 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 करो. व्हाट विल हैपन आफ्टर दैट? क्या होगा? थिंक लॉजिकली ना.
Maybe now
Person
this
get tired.
person will get. Sorry.
Sorry, Mataji.
नहीं नहीं, नेहा जी आप बताइए.
Because उसने उसको इतना पुश कर दिया कि might be he get tired with the same thing doing past 5 days.
हाँ, टायर्ड होगा. उसके बाद क्या होगा? लेट से ही सेज ओके आई वांट टू स्लीप नाउ, ही स्लीप्स फॉर 20 hours. उसके बाद क्या होगा?
Maybe his level of expectation of a good time is now changed to based on what he has gone through now in the last 5 days.
Okay, but finally what will happen? He will basically get bored of it, right? And to the extent that he will say कि यार इसमें भी मजा नहीं आ रहा है, and then he will want to come back to the spiritual path. So Krishna purposely puts you into such a situation that the spiritual path that you were walking on, you gave up that path for whatever reasons. Whatever reason was the contributing factor, Krishna says itna karo usko ki you will get bored, you will get irritated, you will want to give up that by yourself, and then you will want to come back to the spiritual path. That is what Krishna does here. So the probability that you will successfully walk on the path determines is determined by the first factor, how much you have walked previously and how much is remaining to be walked. So based on that, Krishna either puts you on 1A or 1B or path number 2. So what he is saying that a person, so abhi एक question आ सकता है, right? कि the person who is getting birth in a wealthy family, okay, उसकी तो मजे है compared to a person being born in a Brahminical family, because generally Brahmins are not known to possess a lot of wealth, right? So जो बंदा थोड़ा ही चला है, let's say from this path he started, okay, he started walking here, and till here he walked only let's say 5 kilometers. तो ये बंदे को वेल्दी फैमिली में जन्म मिलता है. And this person 1B, he walks let's say 50 kilometers, but he gets birth in a Brahminical family. who is not known to be wealthy. So don't you think it is some kind of injustice? What do you think? थोड़ा ही किया लेकिन पैसे अंबानी के घर पे जन्म मिला, और ये बंदे ने बहुत ज्यादा किया बट फिर भी गरीब ब्राह्मण के घर पे जन्म मिला. तो injustice है कि नहीं है? And what could be the reason behind it?
I think that the person 1B does not know that he is actually way further into the soul's spiritual path. So for him to reach point E is way ahead compared to the guy on 1A.
That is correct. That is from his perspective. Let's think from
Correct.
Krishna's perspective. So do you think Krishna has done some kind of injustice to person 1B?
Maybe he's given him limited resources so that he understands how do you move forward without and have a sort of a detachment towards the wealth which 1A is attached to that wealth.
Okay. So you're very close to it. The reason is basically, okay, let's think of it in this way. The probability that the number 2 will reach to the end point is higher than the probability that 1B will reach to the end point. Yeah, this is simple to understand. Now, it means that 2 should be given less number of resources, because of which he can get diverted from the spiritual path. Correct? Similarly, 1B should be given less resources compared to 1A, based on which he will not be tempted to walk on the material path. He will be kind of given an environment by which he will walk on the spiritual path. Simple to understand. So what Krishna is doing is, if a person is born in a wealthy family, what is the probability that he will get drifted away from the spiritual path and walk on the material path? The probability is at least a bit higher than path 1B, person 1B, right? If he is born in a Brahminical family. So what Krishna is doing is, keep removing the negative circumstances which can divert you away from the spiritual path. That is point number 1. And creating positive circumstances which will give you the culture and the knowledge and the intelligence from your childhood itself, from your birth itself, that will disallow you to walk on the negative path. Right? एक वेल्दी आदमी के घर पे अगर बच्चा जन्म लेता है, तो उसको जो संस्कार मिलेंगे कंपेयर टू दैट, एक ब्राह्मण के घर पे अगर बच्चा जन्म लेता है, उसको जो संस्कार मिलेंगे, they will be a bit different. The probability that the child in the Brahmin's family will pursue spiritual path is higher than a person who is born in the wealthy family, than a child who is born in the wealthy family. So Krishna क्या कर रहा है? He is creating an environment by which both these children can be protected. अगर कोई बंदा इसमें ज्वाइन होता है, किधर गया, हाँ, when he is born in the devotee family, okay, this Dhimatam family, then uska probability of success is very high. That's why Krishna gives him such a chart environment from the time he enters into the womb of the mother. तभी से उसको देता है, so that जो भी बचा कुचा रहेगा, let him finish in that life and get out of this cycle of birth and death immediately. So now the question is, ये बंदे को जो दिया है इधर 1A वाले को, उसको enjoyment के लिए नहीं दिया है. Krishna is not giving this extra money or lot of wealth to this 1A person for his personal enjoyment. He has given this to him so that he does not need to worry about the basic necessities of life, roti, kapda, and makan. He focuses on only the spiritual path. That is the objective. If he, based on his free will, chooses to misuse that wealth and go away from the spiritual path, then Krishna gives him that environment also. थोड़ा प्रोटेक्ट भी करेगा, थोड़ा फ्री विल भी दे देगा. That is his independence. So this is the kind of the trajectory, both the trajectories. Okay. It may take a little bit while to understand this and digest this also. If you want, we can recap this in the next class also. Hare Krishna. Any questions, or we can take it up in the next week? Manju Mataji, Neha Mataji, Rohini Mataji, all okay?
All good.
All okay,
Okay,
Prabhuji. I think we will take a recap on the next class as well one more time.
ठीक है. तो नेक्स्ट कैप में आप लोग सब, आप तीनों, you should draw this diagram.
Okay.
Okay,
चलो.
okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Hare
Okay.
Krishna. See you
Hare
next
Krishna,
week.
Hare
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.